Hi everyone, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you live from Victoria, British Columbia, Canada. I hope everybody is having an awesome weekend so far. I hope you're staying healthy, strong, and happy. Welcome Fong, Angel, Ha, Elizabeth. Good to see members in the class. Everybody, this is a members chat class. Of course, everybody is welcome to watch. We will have a Speaking Part 3 class after this Speaking Part 2 class where everybody will be able to join the chat and the topics are connected because in the IELTS Speaking Part 3 topic is connected to Speaking Part 2. Today it's Speaking Part 2 right now, and this cue card, the long part, will be requesting that you talk about an idea to improve your home. Home improvement ideas are common and popular around the world, so this could easily be a question on an IELTS exam. The speaking is the same for the general and the academic. It's a 12 to 15 minute interview, and the second part comes after about 5-6 minutes where the examiner will show you a booklet. That booklet will have a page with some questions. It will be 4 or 5 questions, and those questions will be on a specific topic. In this case, this is the cue card that we're looking at, IELTS Speaking Part 2. And make sure to speak and repeat, everybody. I keep saying that, and I hope you keep doing it. Speak and repeat. It's so important to copy what I say, copy how I say it. I speak with a lot of emphasis, of course, because I'm a presenter and I want to make this interesting for you. Guess what? Speaking Part 2. You're the presenter. You need to make it interesting for the examiner. So when you make an interesting or give an interesting presentation for the examiner with good emphasis, good intonation, a little bit of extra voice, it definitely helps your chances of getting a better band score. Again, you know, there are some weird instructions online and strange advice. One of them that we talk about in a couple of videos is body language. Body language is definitely an important part of communication, so keeping your body open, because it also helps intonation. You see me using it in these live classes too, and you see teachers, of course, using it as well. It helps our voice to go up and down. We literally, like a conductor in an orchestra, control our communication, our voice with our body language. So body language is important, even though they're not directly marking you for it, obviously. So anyway, you're presenting, okay? And this is the cue card that we are presenting today. Talk about an idea you had to improve your home. You should say, what was the idea? Why did you have this idea? How does this idea affect you and others in your home? What did you need to make it a reality? Okay, so there's a lot of different answers that a person can give to this question. Start thinking about those answers while I introduce the class a little bit more. This lesson, everybody, is brought to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, check us out there. For general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. These are the websites that power these live classes. The academic IELTS website looks like this with the blue background, and you can click this big red button to join the premium IELTS package that's just behind my head. It's a one-time payment for lifetime access. We are an IDP affiliate. We're a British Council partner. We're an IELTS test registration center. We have been helping students around the world for about the past 15 years, and we have helped thousands of students succeed in their IELTS goals. Some of you might even recognize some of these faces. Welcome, Constellation. Hi, Domenico. Nice to have you on board today. All right. Domenico says, I find it hard to speak without the use of body language. Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to do that. You don't want to restrict your body language. All right, General IELTS, it's gieltshelp.com, and it looks like this with the green background. Again, just click that big red button there above my head, and it is a one-time payment for lifetime access. It's absolutely worth it. We will be using the websites today to speak with our viewers and to measure your answers, give you a score estimate, and give you tips on what you can do to improve. You can use this discount code DRIVE9 for a 10% discount on the websites. Again, it's just a one-time payment and it doesn't cost a lot. The apps are Academic IELTS Help and General IELTS Help. Download the apps, link them to the websites. And I've got this blog here for you today. Again, it's on the website. This is free for everybody, so check out the blog. This is a Speaking Part 2 blog. Lots of great blog articles on those websites that you can access for free as well. And over 100 hours of videos. IELTS_AE Help for Instagram. Check us out. And for General IELTS Instagram, it's GIELTS Help. Check that out. We've got lots of followers there. We've got great videos and tips, strategies, vocabulary to help you on Instagram. If you have questions, everybody, you can always just send me an email. Adrian@aehelp.com or admin@aehelp.com. I am happy to help you. Okay. Students, as you know, right now, Speaking Part 2, Members Chat class coming up after this class. Speaking Part 3, talking about home renovations, so making changes to your home. Okay. Then Sunday to Wednesday, no class. And back on Thursday, the 21st, with Speaking Part 1. I will post the schedule on YouTube and on Instagram so everybody can follow it. Definitely subscribe. It's free, it's quick, and you get notifications of upcoming classes and materials. We will have a subscribers chat class for listening next week as well. We have this video for you out on YouTube just recently. It's a good one. Check that out when you have a moment. Let's get into today's cue card. All right. Okay, lots of salutations and hellos. It's nice to have a tight community of members. Good to see all of you interacting. All right. Angel is asking, can you please do a writing task 1 or 2 each week? Angel, it's a good tip. I mean, if everybody wants at least one writing task each week, then yeah, absolutely. Romelia is asking, what about the classes on the websites? Yeah, I guess some of you are paying attention to that new feature, right, in the My Student account, the live class. That's coming, Romelia, in October. We're still testing the system, making sure it's working great, but we're letting everybody know for the next couple of weeks so that they can get ready and start planning to join live classes on the websites as well. In the meantime, students, definitely check out any one of the over 100 lesson videos there. Lots and lots of help. We've probably got more video lesson materials than anybody else teaching IELTS. So another great reason to join the websites. We've got tons and tons of tools and materials, and we'll use some of these today. So thanks for the question, Romelia. The live classes on the website, that's coming up in October, so keep an eye out for that. I'll definitely let you know more as we get closer to that. Okay. All right. So coming back to Speaking Part 2. Let's get you going in the right direction. So the way Speaking Part 2 works is after Part 1, the examiner will say, that is the end of part 1. We will now continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you some questions. You will have 1 minute to read these. Think about your answers. You can take notes in this 1 minute time if you wish, and then you will have 1 to 2 minutes to speak. I will tell you when to start and when to stop. Is that clear? You should say yes, 100%. Talk about an idea you had to improve your home. Your 1 minute preparation time begins now. Okay, we've got some long-standing members, which is great. So you should know what the 5 crucial steps are that you have to take. What's step 1, everybody? What do you have to do first? So your 1 minute just started. You can almost sometimes, if the examiner shows you the card, you can almost start doing this even before they say your 1 minute just started. So they say, okay, your 1 minute just started. What do? Fuang says, read that cue card carefully. Fuang, you're absolutely right. When people are stressed and nervous, like, you know, when you're studying at home, people go like, oh yeah, of course I'll read it carefully. Duh. But we forget that when we're in the exam and we're really nervous and we're stressing and we might be rushing, it's much easier to not be careful reading the cue card. So do pay attention to that. So check yourself. Be like, okay, am I reading this carefully, right? So remember, it is much easier to make mistakes when we are stressed. So check yourself and confirm that you have indeed read the cue card carefully. Okay? It's not the same as reading it at home when you're just, you know, all right, here's a cue card, da-da-da. You get what I'm saying there, right? Okay? So check yourself. Read it carefully. So talk about an idea you had, right? Pay attention to the tense right away. Not have, but had, to improve your home. You should say, what was the idea? Why did you have this idea? How does this idea affect others in your home? And what did you need to make it a reality? So you read it carefully, maybe even twice. Okay. All right. Then, step 2. It's very important. Okay. What is that? What do you do in the second step, everybody? So when you do your IELTS exam, as long as you spent a couple months preparing and practicing, these steps for part 2 should be almost automatic. So this is where practice really helps a lot, because these steps should be, okay, read it carefully. Step 2, look for this, right? So what's your second step? What do? And it is kind of robotic. So you're kind of like a robot here, where it's like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 in your preparation time. But in combination with an actor or an actress, where you're really presenting with lots of emotions and energy. So you combine that robotic part of the brain with that very emotional human part of the brain to give a good performance. It's quite the trick. Okay, Angel says think of several ideas. Fuang says think of 2 to 3 ideas. Before you do that, girls and guys, okay, before you start thinking of ideas, that's step 3. Okay, this is what I mean. It's so important. Don't jump steps, right? So before, and they're all important steps. And when you're going for those high scores and when you want to give a good presentation, you really need to go through these steps. And even for school presentations, you might want to do this. Okay. Fuang says grammar, tenses, and category. Yes, category, tenses, right? That's what you want to do. So figure out what are the what's the category and what are the tenses. The part 2 cue card will focus on one of kind of 5 categories of communication, or of situations, I should say. What are those 5 categories? So what's the 5 categories? You should know these, and you should practice all of these before you get to the IELTS exam. This is one of the best tips that I can give you, okay, for your speaking. It's a very important tip, okay? Make sure to practice all 5 categories before your IELTS exam. Domenico, you have an IELTS exam coming up very soon in about a week's time. You're flying to Ireland on the 18th, on Monday, right? So Domenico, for sure, over the next week, do at least one speaking part 2 for each category, okay? Right? What are those 5 categories? They should be at the tip of your finger, so they should be on the tip of your tongue. You should be able to say them no problem, okay? What's the 5 categories here, members? What do you need to practice? And they can all be equally popular. So if you look at the IELTS exams and the topics in the last year, you will realize that they all kind of come up with a similar frequency, okay? So if you go in, there's basically a 20% chance for any one of them to crop up on your IELTS exam. So Domenico says object. Yeah, you might have to talk about an object, like talk about a gift that you received, right? You might be talking about a person, so talk about an influential person in your community, for instance. It might be about an event, so talk about your favorite birthday, sure. It might be a place, very good, Phuong. So talk about a place where it's good to go shopping near your home, sure. Or it could be an idea, right? And each of these have some specific ideas or concepts that you have to discuss. So in this case, the cue card is asking about an idea, okay? So if you look at it, it says, and sometimes it will directly give it to you. It will say, talk about an idea, right? So talk about an idea. You had to improve your home. So you know that it's an idea. And when you prepare for your IELTS exam, you know that when you're talking about the idea, you have to explain what it is. So the idea itself, right? You have to talk about its origin. So where does this idea come from? Why does a person have this idea? So what's the origin of the idea, right? What is the reason for the idea or the purpose, right? What do you hope to achieve with this idea, right? What are the requirements? So what do you need for this idea? Okay, money, people, resources, time. What do you need, right? And then the outcomes. So in a situation where the idea was implemented or done, you need to explain what happened, right? So what are the outcomes of that idea? And then if you have some time, you might even talk about improvements. So how can you make that idea better, right? Now, you basically talk about an idea in this way, okay? So last year, after watching a nature documentary and realizing how polluted our planet has become, I decided to update my family home and make it much more environmentally friendly. I had this idea roughly last year, June, when I watched David Attenborough documentary called Lonely Planet. In this show, They explain that the use of energy efficient light bulbs and better insulation can greatly reduce the cost of electricity and also help the environment to be more sustainable. So I called some experts and found out that for about $10,000 I can put modern insulation into the walls, which will save me at least $200 a month in heating bills and will reduce the use of energy by 60% in the home each month. Okay, so I'm literally just making this up. I haven't even planned, right? I haven't even done notes. I haven't even thought about any other aspect here. I'm just literally going through the what, the origin, the reason, the requirement, and then I can talk about the outcomes and the improvements. In order to make my home even more energy efficient, I can install a wood stove so that I can heat the home using not only electricity but also wood pellets. Okay, so you can literally just go through sentence by sentence, and there's a very good chance that you will do a great job answering all of the questions on the cue card because they tend to deal with that. Okay, so one aspect you do want to remember is to always look at the questions, right? Definitely answer all the questions on the cue card. Okay, think about it. So Domenico says, I'm having this idea swirling in my head and I'm looking carefully at the cue card. Domenico, think about your home. Think about what you could improve, what you would want to improve, what you have improved, and then put it into context, right? So, all right, and then the tense. So the cue card always reveals the tense. Again, there's some really interesting advice on the internet for speaking part 2. A lot of advice says talk about the past, present, and the future. Yeah, it's okay. It's not bad advice. We often do. So we often talk about what is in the past, what is now, what is the future. But you can't just randomly talk about the past, present, and future. You have to look at the card and see what time frame or what timeline the cue card's focusing on. This cue card, when you look carefully, you can see that a lot of the tenses are in the past, right? So had, was, did, okay? And then did. And there's that one kind of does, right? Which is present tense. We don't really have a lot of future tense here, as you can see. So it's probably not a good idea to talk about the future. If you get stuck saying like, oh, in the future, I will change the hardwood floor to carpet so that there's better heat retention in my home, then it's like, no. The cue card's asking about an idea you had to improve your home, right? Siobhan, welcome to our group of members. Nice to have you on board. Send me an email for those perks, okay? Here's my email address, and definitely join in on the chat, all right? So really pay attention to the card. It matters. Here the examiner is mostly looking for or listening for an idea you had to improve your home, not what you will do and not what's happening right now, okay? So when you talk about the past, present, and future, you have to really be smart about how much you talk about the past or the present or the future, okay? So here, clearly, the tenses are mostly past. You'll use past and past perfect, and maybe a little bit of present. And you could, if you have some time, potentially one future sentence, what you might do to improve your home further in the future. Okay, the past perfect structure is subject, okay, like I, plus the auxiliary verb had. Okay, I'm just showing you the basic structure here for those of you who are grammar buffs and you want to know a little bit about grammar. Sometimes I don't, go into these technical concepts, and maybe some of you are like, does Adrian actually know like technical rules of grammar? I know most of them, maybe not all of them. Past perfect structure, subject I, auxiliary verb, have the past participle verb, renovated, okay, and then your object, okay. The kitchen renovations, right? Very popular. I had renovated the kitchen. Okay, and then now you want to make that into a complex sentence. Okay, and here you add a cause and effect, subordinating conjunction. Okay. The reason I'm also giving you this, everybody, is because I want you to practice this. And if you have a pen and pencil or paper at home, start writing down some sentences on this topic. Okay, not just I had gone to the store. No, on this topic of renovating your home. Okay. And let's make the sentences complex. So complex, cause and effect, subordinating conjunction. We can say because. I'm about to tell the biggest lie ever. Because both my wife and I love to cook. I think my wife likes to cook. I don't know if she loves to cook. I love to cook. I would love to have a great kitchen. But anyway, there is your complex past perfect sentence. Okay, so I had renovated the kitchen because both my wife and I love to cook. All right, so we've made the house better. Okay, so there you go. That's your past perfect sentence grammar with your complex compound sentence. Students, on the website, there's kind of a part that hides a little bit, and I think some people miss it. So in the full online academic course, if you go to the bottom, the writing bonus course, that was at the bottom of the interactive course, then you have these interesting tables here.
Welcome to IELTS free online writing course.
Basically, how you can compose these present, past participle sentences and create these nice complex sentences. And it really goes through and shows you this concept of how it works and why it works. Okay, so check that out. Talks about active, passive. So that's in your interactive part of the course on the website. And again, for those of you watching, you can purchase the premium version of our course at aehelp.com by clicking that big red button that's just right there. Okay, so check that out, and you're good. Okay, you use that. It's a really nice grammar lesson in the interactive course there. All right, so step one, you've read the card carefully. Step two, you identified the category. You know what you need to say. You figured out what grammar you should be focusing on. Now step three is actually thinking about your answers. So here, energy efficient home is what I already gave you. I gave you a kitchen renovation. And you're like, well, what's step three? Right? Step three is come up with 2 to 3 good ideas. To answer the question, it should be easy, lots of content, so easy to talk about, not really difficult vocabulary ideally, lots of content, and it should be somewhat original. Okay, so if you can, talk about, an idea that not everybody else is talking about. Original ideas often will get better marks than ideas where everybody is talking about them. Why is that, students? So if your idea is slightly original, it doesn't need to be like, whoa, what did you just talk about? But no, if your idea is slightly original, meaning not the most popular idea among candidates, it will likely score better. Why do you think that is? Okay. Why do you think that original ideas, if the examiner's like, oh, I haven't heard that one today, right? So think about it that way. It's like, oh, I haven't heard that one today. Why do you think? Shivang says because it shows creativity. No, not really. Maya says because it's not boring. Kind of. There's an even better answer here, though, Maya. It's not really that it's boring. So the examiners do try to be objective and not think about, this kid's boring. Okay. The reason why, and there's always logical answers. I think a lot of you who know me well now realize that Adrian isn't just saying this because he's emotional or he read it in a book or he heard the other guy say it, but I'm very logical, right? It's part of my expertise as a psychologist, as a person who holds a degree in psychology. I'm always looking at the rational, scientific understanding of humans and human behavior. Okay. So when the examiner hears original ideas, they do not have points of comparison. Okay. The examiner does not have reference points to other candidates that may have better English. So they won't have this idea of, oh, I just heard a similar answer and that guy or girl was awesome. Good luck trying to do better. All right. So, now some of you are probably thinking like, oh, the examiner is allowed to compare us. No, the examiner is not supposed to compare you to other candidates. Okay. They're supposed to look at each candidate separately, individually. But let's be realistic. We're humans, right? If somebody just walked into that exam and talked about their kitchen renovation and they were just great because, hey, they were lucky. They watched a renovation show on Netflix about kitchen renovations yesterday and it just happened to be their topic. And maybe they work in construction and it's their expertise and they just delivered an outstanding 2-minute presentation on renovating their kitchen. And you walk in there and you start talking about your kitchen renovation, it's going to be pretty challenging for that examiner to not be like, well, I just heard like really, right? Like you don't want to follow that, right? Okay. Does that make sense, right? So you want to be a little bit original if possible. That's why staying away from topics like talking about your mobile phone. Okay. Don't talk about your phone. All right. If possible, avoid that one. Okay. All right. So you have some slightly original ideas. Let's see what kind of ideas you have come up with. Yeah, exactly. Romania says a genuine approach is gripping. Examiners are objective, but they are humans. Of course, exactly, right? Domenico says a vertical garden. Yeah, that's a good one. I think you've already talked about that one, Domenico, so it's good that you're practicing that again. What other good ideas are there for home renovations? There's a couple of really common ones. So, how do I come up with ideas? This is a really good question. How to generate good ideas. Okay, definitely visualize. And think about the most common situations in real life. So let's say, well, I haven't done any home renovations, or not that I can remember, or I can't think of any. My parents did all the home renovations, right? Well, think about what they did. Think about what people update in their homes regularly. There are a few different ones, and as I'm thinking about this, lots and lots of them come to mind for me anyway. So lots of home renovation ideas there. Ghazi says paint the kids' room. Yeah, I think that's a really good one, Ghazi. Painting the kids' room is super smart. Yep. Solar panels to the roof. Joe, that's super smart. Joe says solar panels on the roof. Yeah. That's a great idea. And a lot of people are doing that. You see more and more of those solar panels when you're walking around. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good one. Okay. Fuang says, redecorating my home. That can be a tricky one. So I wouldn't talk about that one like simply like that, like redecorate, because it's kind of like, well, what are you redecorating, right? So it could be a difficult one. It's too general. Okay. Deandra says a 3D wallpaper panel for the living room. Sure. Okay, home cinema, sure. So you installed a home theater system for entertainment. Okay, Shivang says a waste management system. Okay, that could be okay. I think it could be hard to talk about that, right? Angel, I think you were onto something. So I'm not sure what you said there, but we could say an exercise studio. Right? So maybe you have a lot of people. Think about COVID, right? Oh my. All those home exercise studios that people established in their home in either the garage or the basement. And now those rooms are all just sitting there with collecting dust. A lot of them. Hopefully not all of them. Right? But an exercise studio, that's a really good one as well. Okay? Maybe you've upgraded to double pane windows, right? So windows that have 2 layers to keep in the cold or the warm, to seal the house much better. Elizabeth says, yes, the gym at home in the garage, right? Maybe you updated your appliances, right? Like the fridge. The dishwasher, the dryer, that's a good idea to do every now and then. Maybe you replaced the roof. It's a very common one. The roof is getting leaky, it's getting dirty, it's causing all kinds of problems, so you need to call somebody to replace the roof in your house, right? So again, think of those common situations. Like, think if you asked 100 people what are renovations that people frequently do in their homes, you'll probably hear people say, oh, well, sometimes people have to replace the roof, do roofing, it's called. They have to upgrade their windows. They have to paint the kids' room. So there are lots and lots of different types. Change carpets to hardwood floors. Okay, and now that we're talking about it, probably a lot of you are realizing, like, oh yeah, we've done some of these in the last few years, right? Okay. So maybe if you want to get really fancy, you've installed a car charger in the garage because you're upgrading to an electric vehicle soon, right? Ghazi says change the water pipes. Absolutely. If you've got old water pipes, they're getting leaky. There's rust and other debris that's getting mixed in with your water. You definitely want to change the water pipes. Angel says installed an aquarium, or how about a games room? Okay, very good. Lots of ideas there. Now, you're goal here, right, is just pick one. Okay, I love the solar panels on the roof. That's a really good one. All right, it kind of matches with my energy efficient home renovation, right? Okay, let's now go to step 4, which is useful notes. Okay. So the idea here, solar panels. Now, maybe don't write down solar panels because you're going to know that anyway. Just write down a number, right? It'll help you quantify. Here's a good tip for everybody. I haven't said this before in the past, but I think it's a really good one. I'm sure you'll agree. You'll be like, oh yeah, that's a really good tip. Write down at least 2 to 3 numbers in your notes to remind yourself to quantify your ideas. Okay? Everybody with me on that? So notice how I just did that, right? Solar panels times 20. So 20 solar panels. Okay? And then you might write down another one, like 10,000 kilojoules of energy per month. Okay? You might write down another one, 60% of family energy use. Okay? So writing down 2 to 3 numbers in your notes is a really good idea. And now that I think about it, I don't actually see students doing that all that often. So I don't see students writing numbers into their notes. Okay? Numbers are great. They can give you a lot of ideas and information to talk about. Ghazi says, yeah, okay, that makes sense. And basically any question that you get on the cue card, there's usually at least a couple numbers that you can write down, whether it's about a person, a place, an idea or an event or an object, which will help you to explain that topic in more detail and more precisely. Okay. So solar panels, 20 of them, 10,000 kilojoules a month, 60% of family energy use, save 100 trees per year, right? So lots of numbers and ideas there for your useful notes. Okay, instead of last year, you might write down something like you had the idea in July 2019 because it was a really hot summer, right? The neighbor has them. Jones is next door. Anybody hear this expression before? Were the Joneses next door? Do you know what that means? Anybody? Can you guess from context? So in July 2019, I saw that my neighbor had solar panels or installed solar panels on the roof of their house. So we also decided to be the Joneses next door and install these solar panels, right? And it's a funny expression. It comes from the mid 20th century, so from the 1950s, when consumerism and capitalism got really popular, or gained a lot of momentum, I should say. Anybody knows what that means? We're the Joneses next door. You're not actually called a Jones. Okay, it means we want to copy what the other guy or neighbor in this case. Often it refers to your neighbor. Has. Okay. So your neighbor has a new Mercedes or a Tesla. You need a Tesla. Your neighbor has solar panels. You need solar panels. Your neighbor just got a little swimming pool. You need a swimming pool, but it has to be at least a little bit bigger, right? So that's Joneses next door. Okay, we call that the Joneses next door. It was very typical in North America during the 1950s to 2000s. Whatever the neighbor has, you gotta have it. All right. I'm glad. No, Angel, no. The name Jones is the word here. You can't change that, okay? It has to be the Joneses next door. It can't be the Franks next door. No, it has to be Joneses. That's part of this expression. I don't know why they chose that name. Do not ask me. I think it's a common name. Angel is why, but that's what it is. It's the Joneses next door. Okay. Yeah, Ghazi, absolutely. It's jealousy. It's wishful thinking and greed thinking for sure. Okay. So we've got our notes, right? Requirements. You probably want to put down something like $12,000 for sure. Use symbols whenever possible. You need 1 week. You need installation crew. And of course, you need a decent amount of sunlight. Sure. So that's your requirements, right? And then what happened after? So you're going through your notes, and then you go to step 5. Step 5 is your first sentence. A very important tip, everybody. Make sure you do this in your exam, Domenico, okay? First sentence, ready. It's extremely important that in that 1 minute, you take at least 10 seconds to construct your first sentence. Remember what I said, everyone. The 2 most important steps for the cue card part 2. If you can't do all 5 because you're like, nah, I just can't do it, I'm not fast enough. Do step 3 and do step 5. Do not leave those ones out. Okay, you have to do those 2 steps. All right, you have to do those 2 steps. All right, so step 3. Let's make it like a fancy. Yeah, there we go. Step 3 and step 5. Those are absolutely critical. Those 2 steps. Okay. All right. So first sentence. In the summer of 2019, I had made the decision to install solar panels on the roof of my house. Okay, great. Now, based on our lessons so far and what I have said, give me some sentences, members. So how do I follow? So help me here, everybody. You're going to do your own part 2 response shortly, but I want you to build this part 2 response with me. And, you know, usually in these classes, I kind of go through this part 2 piece here pretty quickly just to give you a good idea. But I'd like you to help me. Okay, so in the summer of 2019, I had made the decision to install solar panels on the roof of my house. Give me the next sentence, okay? There are lots of different ways that you could continue this. Shavong, you absolutely have to give the backstory of why. That's the reason, right, Shavong? So Shavong, remember the steps here. When you're talking about an idea, this is an idea here, right? We have to talk about what it is, the origin, and the reason. The reason is the why, right? The origin is where it comes from, the idea, where you saw it, right? And if you look, the cue card has those questions on it. It usually does. So what was the idea? Why did you have this idea? So the why is important here. Okay. Yeah. So give me the sentence. Shavang, give me the sentence. Back in 2020. Okay. Domenico, you're going with your idea, the vertical garden. For now, please help me to develop my response talking about solar panels. So in the summer of 2019, I had made the decision to install solar panels on the roof of my house. Okay, Angel, good. Angel says, I vividly remember the idea popped up when I saw my neighbor wanted to set up solar panels in order to energy efficient. Good. Okay, I'll correct that a little bit while you're all thinking of ways to continue. Okay. I vividly remember the idea popped up on a sunny, hot day when I saw my neighbor had set up, let's say not wanted. You don't see somebody wanting something, you see them doing it, right, Angel? So when I saw my neighbor had set up solar panels on their roof in order to be energy efficient and to stop paying expensive utility bills each month. Sure. Okay. Good. I like it. So far so good. I'm just gonna fix our formatting and wait for you to give me more sentences. Okay. Keep writing. Keep giving me more sentences. So far, repeat after me. In the summer of 2019, I had made the decision to install solar panels on the roof of my house. I vividly remember the idea popped up on a hot, sunny day when I saw my neighbor had set up solar panels on their roof in order to be energy efficient and stop paying expensive utility bills each month. Okay. I'll use my expression here while you're thinking about how to continue. So you continue, members, okay? I'm going to give a little bit of extra here, but I want you to continue, okay? I'm usually not the one to be the Joneses next door, but this definitely seemed like an innovation worth copying. Okay, good. Domenico says, back in 2019, I made up my mind about installing solar panels on the roof of my house in order to turn my living environment into a more environmentally friendly place. Good. All right, good. So this is what Fwong says. I like it. Okay, now we're cooking. Okay, Fwong says, at that time, I thought this idea would, because it's the past, would not only help me to save a bunch of money, but also contribute to protecting the environment. Okay. Good. Couple of corrections there. Stay concise, everyone, whenever possible. Okay. Nat says, I recall that while I was having a chat with my close neighbor, he told me that his family had saved 40% on energy expenses by installing a new solar system. Very nice, Nat. I like it. Okay, this is what Nat has to add to this. Okay, good. Nice. Good. All right. So nice, everybody. Nice. Let me add a little bit here. I did my research and found out that I would need about 10 panels at a cost of $1,200 each. To make good use of the surface area of the roof. So I made the $12,000 investment, and within 2 weeks, a couple of experts came and installed the new panels. Although this was financially a painful experience at the start, it was great to see that my utility bill the next month had gone from $300 to $100. Sure. Okay. Give me some more sentences here. Okay. Deandra, I think that's awkward detail. So Deandra says, these solar panels are needed to add more electricity power capacity for my house that comes regularly from underground cables. Deandra, I think that's a little bit like, the examiner might be thinking like, why are you telling me that? It's not really important. You need to kind of focus on more of what's going on here. So focus on just clear communication, okay? Like in the real world, all right? So we've talked about what the idea is, where it comes from. We've talked about the requirements, that it requires money and experts to install. We've talked a little bit about the results, right? This is where I might want to check the cue card. So how does this idea affect you and others in your home? Okay. Talk about that. Give me some sentences for that. So how does this idea affect you and others in your home? Okay. Give me some sentences for that. There's some really good ones. So think about what that would do. So if you've got some solar panels on your roof and you're saving money and you're saving the environment, how is that going to affect your family? What might they say to their friends? Like what, you know, if you're at a family gathering and people are like, oh, I heard you have some solar panels. What are you going to say? And how are you going to feel about that, right? And that will help to answer this question. So since we've been using these solar panels to produce much of the electricity, so since my family has been using these panels to produce about 60% of our monthly energy needs, we have all felt what? What would you feel if you're using these solar panels? Give me a sentence. We have all felt, I would say, proud, right? Proud that we are doing our part to decrease pollution caused by burning gas or using hydroelectric power, right? Okay, so you feel proud about that. What else? So again, remember, you're saving money. Furthermore, the extra $200 each month are now put towards an annual family vacation. The $2,400 we saved on electricity last year, we used to visit Disneyland. this last summer. And we all had a great time. Okay? All right, so keep thinking, keep writing. Ghazi says, because we are using the solar system, we do not need to worry about the power bill. We can turn on the lights all night in our garden. Oh no, Ghazi, I knew somebody would do that. Like, because we have all this power, we can just use it. Our house, we don't even take off the Christmas lights. We just keep the Christmas lights going all year. Oh, we're so human, Ghazi, right? Just because we have more, we got to use it. I purposefully did not write that, but I thought about it too, Ghazi. Of course I thought about that. Yeah, okay, just because we have more power doesn't mean we need to use it, right? It still does affect the environment, okay? So keep that in mind. I would definitely check the question at this point and make sure that I've answered all the questions. So how does this idea affect you and others in your home? I just answered that, right? Now, the examiner won't judge you, Ghazi. So if you tell him that with all this extra power, I just keep the TV going all night, they won't judge you, but they might be like, okay. All right. So what was the idea? Have it. Why did you have the idea? We have it. How does it affect people in the home? We have that. What did you need to do to make it a reality? We have that, right? So, absolutely. Okay. We've got all of our answers. So we can kind of wrap it up here, right? What can we do to wrap it up? What is a really good idea here? Okay. Let's see which one of our members knows how we should kind of end, hint, hint, this speaking part 2. Okay. And this is, again, a really important tip for everybody watching, because there's a lot of really weird information on the internet. Again, like sometimes people say, just keep talking in the 2 minutes until they stop you. What? Why? No, don't do that. Okay. Romelia says, in a positive way, how you feel, etc. Romelia, no, etc. Okay, no, etc. All right. Reflect. So this is an important tip here. Okay. Tip. Reflect the topic statement and conclude. So without a doubt, one of the best ideas I've had to make our family home better is to have had these solar panels installed a couple of years ago. Okay. So you reflect that question. Remember the original question? It says, talk about an idea you had to improve your home. So without a doubt, one of the best ideas I've had to make our family home better is to have had these solar panels installed a few years back. Awesome. Your time is up. Please put your note paper to the side, turn it over, as well as your pencil, and we will now continue with part 3. The examiner knows very well that you're done, you've answered all the questions, you've finished, you've concluded, you've given him or her that sentence to say that very clearly, and they're ready to go on. Okay, let's take a look. So read with me, speak with me, okay, copy what I say. Here we go. So cue card on the topic of an idea to improve your home. In the summer of 2019, I had made the decision to install solar panels on the roof of my house. I vividly remember the idea popped up on a hot summer sunny day when I saw my neighbor had set up solar panels on their roof in order to be energy efficient and to stop paying expensive utility bills each month. I'm usually not the one to be the Joneses next door, but this definitely seemed like an innovation worth copying. At that time, I thought this idea would not only help me to save a bunch of money, but also contribute to protecting the environment. I recall that while I was having a chat with my close neighbor, he told me that his family had saved 40% on energy expenses by installing a new solar system. I did my research, and I found out that I would need about 10 panels at a cost of $1,200 each to make good use of the surface area of the roof. So I made the $12,000 investment, and within 2 weeks, a couple of experts came and installed the new panels. Although this was financially painful at the start, it was great to see that my utility bill the next month had gone from $300 to $100. Since my family has been using these panels to produce about 60% of our monthly energy needs, we have all felt proud that we are doing our part to decrease pollution caused by burning gas or using hydroelectric power. Furthermore, the extra $200 each month are now put towards an annual family vacation. The $2,400 we saved on electricity last year, we used to visit Disneyland this last summer, and we all had a great time. So without a doubt, one of the best ideas I've had to make our family home better is to have had these solar panels installed a few years back. Absolutely, Fuang, you can smile. So if you're happy about what you've just said and these pieces, you can smile. And look at that. We put it together. It makes sense. And a good part of this are actually suggestions that you gave me. You're just putting the pieces together, right? Like a good puzzle. Okay. All right. So solar panels, great renovation, upgrade, addition to the family home. All right. Everybody, let's give you a chance. There were so many great ideas from our members. I really would love to hear you answer this cue card with those ideas. So let's do a bit of speaking. Let's join in on the audio chat on the website. Here's the instructions. So first, you need to go to the website, aehelp.com. You need to go to your My Student account, a student partner speaking, enable your microphone. So make sure your microphone is working, and then volunteer. So here's our website. Again, for all of you watching, you can join the premium version of the course by clicking the big red button that's just there. And it is a one-time payment. You get lifetime access, so it's absolutely worth it. You can try it for free with the green button as well. There. Now, I already have a My Student account, so I'm going to log in. And in the My Student account, you have your student partner speaking. Click on that. That's the function that we're using. You have computer-based practice exams. You have a full interactive course. You have downloadable PDF exam books, study plans, audio CDs, lesson videos, lots more. Let's go to student partner speaking and use that function. Let me just refresh that because it seems to be buggered. All right, here we go. Join in on this page, and then, oh, there we go. And then we'll connect. All right. And we already have a volunteer. We have Angel coming in with a request here. Our member, Angel, says, I'd like to volunteer. Hi, Angel. Are you ready? Let's do it. Okay, we've got Juan Pablo, Ghazi, AJ, lots. Ghazi, good to see you sticking to the plan, studying hard. Angel, if you're there, give me a sign. Okay.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Angel. How are you?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I am also doing great. Thank you for asking. Angel, can you just tell all of our viewers where you are, why you're taking the IELTS?
Yeah, I'm originally from Iran and now I live in Turkey. And I'm planning to immigrate to an Anglo-Saxophone country. Because of that, I'm taking IELTS exam.
Okay, good. Yeah. Um, Anglo-Saxon country, not Anglo-Saxophone,
Ah, yes.
Anglo-Saxon country. Yeah.
Yeah,
For French speaking, it's francophone. So in Canada, we have Anglo-Saxon and francophone. It's easy to kind of combine those two. And phone does mean speaking, so you do hear it kind of like that, but it's more accurate to say Anglo-Saxon, francophone. Okay.
yes, sir. It's tricky. It's tricky word.
I know, but it's good that you're using it. And I've asked you a few different times to tell us where you're from and why you're doing the IELTS. And I really like how each time you just comfortably retell it the same way. And you know what, Angel? Every time you say it better, more accurately, with more confidence. It's a good attitude. Sometimes when people are learning a language, it's easy to get kind of tired and bored and frustrated about repeating the same ideas again and again. But that should never be the case. You should always be excited to say the same idea, but even better in a different way. So good for you. Good for you for doing it that way. It's good attitude. All right. Angel, you ready for this part 2?
Of course, yes.
Awesome. Let's do it. I'll start you off. So now we will continue with part 2. For this part, I will show you a card with some questions. You will have 1 minute to think about your answers and 1 to 2 minutes to speak. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, talk about an idea you had to improve your family home. Your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
About 10 years ago, the idea of having a home cinema first popped up when I visited my friend in her apartment. Bobby wanted to watch a movie in her home cinema. I know it. I was similar to Jones next door, but I decided to set it up in my flat in the future because it was really captivating idea for me. Now I live in a 4-bedroom apartment. Therefore, I've been considering turning one of the unused bedrooms into a home cinema. It sounds great for us since my family and I are all movie buffs and enjoy keeping up with the latest series and movies. Moreover, it would be a great way to spend quality time with my family, especially on weekends. We could also invite our friends to watch movies together and freely share our thoughts. Unlike when we going to the cinema, where there is no opportunity for discussion. Thus, I had been searching for equipment such as a screen, video projector, sofa bed, and a thick red curtain. Um, More importantly, I thought that having a popcorn machine, which add to the realistic atmosphere, and making it feel like a real cinema. Honestly, I haven't taken the steps to set up this bedroom yet because I don't plan on living in this apartment for a long time because I want to immigrate to another
Okay, your
country.
2 minutes is up. I'm going to stop you there and we'll continue to part 3. So they do check the clock, Angel, and if you are speaking for 2 minutes, they will stop you, and that's it. It's like there's like this absolute finish line. So you have to try to get to the finish before then. Okay, Angel, first of all, your band score, I would give you like a 6.5 for this. Your speaking is
Oh,
actually more like a 7.5 to an 8, but I'm only giving you a 6.5. Why? What do you think? Why am I dropping you to between fluent and good for this? Even though you seem like you're
maybe
speaking good
because,
to very good, but I'm dropping you. Why?
sir, I think that I changed tense some I was talking about past, and then I changed the tense into present time.
And you even changed it to future time.
Yeah.
Right. That's exactly it. That's a big mistake. In any school assignment, and I'm sure you know this, Angel, and all of everybody who's watching, and when you've done grade 11, grade 12, that's, where your teachers start to get very strict about this, right? If you don't meet the assignment parameters, even if it's a good essay or a good presentation, they will give you a low score and they'll tell you like, hey, this is the real world. You need to make sure that you're answering the assignment correctly, right? And here the assignment is talking about an idea you had to improve your home. Now, you had the idea in the past, but you started to really talk about what's going to happen in the future, and that kind of shifted the entire idea into the present and into the future, right? So to ensure that you get that 775, you really want to present this like, since then we created this home theater room in one of the bedroom. We have been enjoying lots of movies since that time. And I think you would have actually spoken better with more confidence and fluency had you done it that way. So had you actually talked about it as if it's already done and you're using this room. You had some really good vocabulary though, for sure. You had some good confidence and good fluency. So, if you can catch yourself before you get into this troublesome mistake, it's definitely a good idea. But otherwise, you got to keep going. Okay. Angel, everybody listen up. I'm going to give you a couple of tips here using these brilliant sentences here. So Angel, you said 10 years ago, the idea of having a home cinema popped up when you were visiting your friend's home and they had a home cinema, and you said I was similar to the Joneses next door. The Joneses next door is not a simile, so you're not similar to the Joneses next door. The Joneses next door is actually an expression or a metaphor, so you are the Joneses next door. Okay, so what you want to say is I was the Joneses next door. Okay.
Gotcha.
So just repeat after me. Everybody repeat after me. I was the Joneses next door and decided to copy the same home theater in my house.
I was the Joneses next door, and I decided to copy the idea of setting up a home cinema at home.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. So it's not a simile. You're not comparing yourself to the Joneses. You are the Joneses. Okay?
Yeah. Yes.
All right. I think one of your strengths, Angel, is visualization. You're able to really clearly visualize what you're talking about. You're a visual speaker, and I think that's brilliant. So you can actually see that home cinema in your house. And that's why you're able to say, using the extra bedroom and so forth. Now, when you're practicing that and when you're visualizing, look at the details, okay? So when you see that home theater in that extra bedroom, see it clearly. So how big is the screen, Angel, for this home theater?
It's 12 square meters.
Perfect. How many speakers, the speaker system?
I think one or two would be enough because it's not a really big room.
Home theaters are usually 5 to 7 speaker systems. That's why you have the Adobe 5.1 or the 7.1. That actually means the number of speakers that it uses, the different channels. So, but it's okay. The examiner is not judging your knowledge of speaker systems. So as long as you say we would have 1 or 2 high quality speakers, that's fine. Just repeat after me. I would install a surround sound high fidelity speaker system.
I would install what? I forgot.
Or let's make it proper because we said it should be in the past. We installed a high fidelity surround sound speaker system. Okay, one more time. We installed a high fidelity surround sound speaker system.
We installed a high fidelity surround sound speaker system in the room.
That means it's high quality sound that's coming from all directions. Okay, from behind you, from beside you. I love the idea of the popcorn machines. You said a thick red curtain. The curtains that block sunlight so you can enjoy the movies during the day, they're called blackout curtains. I
I didn't know word.
Of course, and that's why I'm giving it to you, right? That's where, if you're using these, the examiner will get it and they'll go, okay, I wonder if this candidate knows the exact expression that's used there. So we bought blackout curtains so that we could enjoy movies even during the daytime. Can you repeat that sentence?
Yeah, we bought blackout curtains in order to blocking the sunlight.
In order to enjoy movies even during the daytime.
In order to enjoy movies during the daytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, so those are just a couple of upgrades to your vocabulary and your language. So really pay attention to the cue card. See, it's really easy to make that mistake. That's why you got to practice. All right. And, if this is something you really wanted to do, Angel, then do it. Because even if you move, you can just pack up your home theater and move it to the other house. It's not easy, but it's worth it. I've done it. It's worth it.
So. Sir, I have 2 questions.
Go for it.
Firstly, I didn't understand the exact meaning of a high fidelity.
High fidelity is specifically used in the audio world, and you see it on machines. So when you buy speakers, they actually shorten it to hi-fi, H-I-F-I, I think is how they do it. And in some languages, they actually say hi-fi. But that actually means high fidelity in English, and they shortened it to H-I-F-I, hi-fi or hi-fi. Okay, and it just basically means that it's very clear, clean audio. So the sound is very, very precise. Okay.
Gotcha. And also, I wanted to ask you. I was obviously aware of changing the tense. I was aware that I'm making mistake, but I couldn't do anything. What should I do in these cases?
Yeah, it's a tough one, right? Because if you've gone too far, it's suddenly really hard to be like, oh, I just realized I'm talking to you like as if I'm going to do this in the future, but we actually have this home theater at home. If you catch yourself in the beginning, then you can kind of stop yourself and revert back. Focus more on the past, right? So then maybe start saying like, I did the research last month. I found a really good home projector. So at least you're kind of back in the past, right? So try to think about how you can kind of circle back to the cue card a little bit more with that past tense. Okay.
Okay, sir.
All right. Good questions, Angel, and good idea for sure. Try to practice it one more time and then correct the tense at home. Okay.
Of course. Okay, I will do this.
Okay. Bye, Angel.
Bye, sir.
All right, let's give Angel a thumbs up. So lots of learning there, right? Okay. All right, let's take another person. Let's see if Fuang figured out what's going on. Okay, Fuang, are you ready? Fuang is using her brother's laptop. Brother was kind enough to lend it. Sure, Fuang, let's give it a shot. Let's see if it has to do with the cookies maybe, or some part of the device. Why not? Well, Fuang, I think we can safely say it's probably not the device, but it's the internet connection, I would guess at this point. Fuang, VPN. It's got to be the VPN. Okay, so if you need some suggestions or advice, send me an email and I will give you a couple of suggestions on how I would set up the VPN on your computer. Okay. All right. Let's give Domenico a chance. Ghazi, I see you there as well. Domenico's got an exam in a few days' time, so we'll see if Domenico is ready. Okay, Domenico, are you there? Absolutely.
Hello, sir.
Hi, Domenico. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. What about you?
Good. I'm doing good, Domenico. All right, Domenico. So your idea is a vertical garden, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Yeah.
If
I
I'm
had
not
this
mistaken,
idea
just a
in my
second, Domenico. If I'm not mistaken, you've already spoken about a vertical garden in the past, haven't you?
Yes, I have.
Okay, and it was in a bit of a different context. So,
Yeah.
Domenico, I'm going to throw you a curveball. Okay, that idiom means that I'm going to give you a challenge or make it a little bit difficult for you. I want you to change your idea. Not a vertical garden. Okay, something else. Okay, something new. All right, ready?
All right.
Okay, here we go. Just keep in mind all of those different ideas that came up. Nothing to do with gardens. Okay, no gardens. All right, here we go. So let's continue with part 2. Surprises come. You got to meet the challenge. So you've got the reason I'm doing this, Domenico, is because you have an exam in the next week and you have to be ready for a surprise. So let's continue with IELTS speaking part 2. Talk about an idea you had to improve your home. Your 1-minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking.
Well, back in summer 2019, I made up my mind about installing a set of solar panels on the roof, well, on the veranda of my house to make my house more environmentally friendly and energy efficient. I vividly remember I had a burning desire to decrease my carbon footprint. So I talked this over with my parents, and they decided that it was time to shift to renewable energy so that we could save on electricity. I didn't employ any personnel to install this set of solar panels because I relied upon my DIY skills, do it yourself. So I managed to keep the total cost to around 800 euros, and we have it has had a positive impact on my family, on both me and my family, but above me and my family, because we have the energy bill has decreased significantly, and well, and we have also we also turned the veranda of my house into a greenery space because we
Concluding
added.
sentence, Domenico. Concluding sentence. Give me a concluding sentence.
So I made the veranda of my house even cozier by introducing a two deck care.
No. Don't change the idea. Domenico, don't add another idea. That's definitely where the examiner will interrupt you and stop you. So let's stay with the solar panels. Give me a concluding sentence with the solar panels.
The addition of solar panels do not be really cost effective because we
think about the topic. Think about the topic. So the addition of the solar panels.
So we have reduced our carbon footprint on the environment, and we have become more environmentally friendly.
No. And, Domenico, let me interrupt you. No, just conclude with the topic sentence. So the addition of the solar panels is one of the best ideas I've had to improve my home.
The addition of the addition of solar panels on the veranda of my house has been the best idea. It's the best idea that I've ever had because
no. Conclude faster. Is the best idea that I've had to improve my home.
To improve my home.
Yeah, you have to finish. Okay? With that finish, and then
the addition of solar panel is the best idea I've ever had because to improve my house.
Perfect. And then now the examiner can say, okay, that's the end of part 2. Let's go on to part 3. So you're doing such a great job, Domenico, with your vocabulary and your ideas, especially in the first 1 minute, that you don't want to decrease your score in the end of your speaking, right? So have a strong, clear finish, just like you have a strong, clear start, okay? It's very important because the start of what you were saying, the first 1 minute, was like a band 8. The last 1 minute was like a band 6. So you want to keep it at a band 8 all the way to the end, okay? And that means once you've said all of the pieces, then just strong conclusion.
This was an impromptu response. So
half. It was half. Domenico, it was a half. Because the idea was the same that we covered in class, right? But you made it your own, which was really good. So I liked how you said, okay, he's challenging me, so I'm going to be a little bit tricky with Adrian. I'm going to take the same idea we used in class, but I'm going to give it my own twist, which was good. Okay, I liked that. I thought that was great that you did that. No, it was good. It was smart. It was very smart. You're like, okay, I'm not going to talk about the new doghouse that I built.
I live in a small ground floor apartment unit in a more than 4-story apartment building. So I kept the idea of the veranda. So I visualized the image of the veranda of my house. So and I thought, well, I could install a set of solar panels on the veranda of my house.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, but you don't, if you've got the idea, you can also just use the roof. Just don't tell your neighbor. I'm just kidding. But no, seriously, Domenico, I think you did a good job. I think you had some great collocations. So you said environmentally friendly. I want everybody to repeat these great collocations. Domenico, one aspect that's very nice in your speaking is you have very nice natural, strong collocations. So make my house more environmentally friendly and energy efficient. That was really good. And then you said this, I had this idea because I had a burning desire to reduce my carbon footprint. Now, I don't know if you did this on purpose, Domenico, but there's actually a really fun play on words there because you used the collocation burning desire. Burning desire means like a strong wish or a very strong will to do, right? But here, Domenico, here it's extra interesting because we're talking about energy, and for energy we burn wood, we burn coal, we burn oil. So we actually burn a lot of different resources to create energy. So in writing, this would be called kind of like a pun, P-U-N, a burning desire to reduce my footprint. It's a very interesting kind of use of or placement of this. So I don't know if you did that on purpose, but it was really good. And then you use the collocation renewable energy. So those are really good elements. So you're doing really well. And I remember you said when you did your mock IELTS exam, the examiner was like, wow, those are some really good idioms and expressions and collocation. So keep doing that. Just make sure to be concise and finish.
Around 2 years ago, when I took the mock IELTS speaking test, I left the examiner jaw dropping because I used certain collocations, and he asked me if I had planned to use these collocations. So I told him that they came naturally to me because
it's obvious. Domenico, it's obvious that your collocations come naturally. I can tell that you're using them naturally because you know a lot of them and you know how to use them. Domenico, we're out of time, so I gotta go because I gotta get ready for that next class as well. But that was really, really good. Come back next class and join me again, okay?
Sure, for sure, sir.
Okay, good work, Domenico. We'll talk again. Bye for now.
Bye. Bye.
All right, that was Domenico. Really great. Okay, good. And he's got a test coming up soon. So, Juan Pablo Ghazi, I see you there. Practice with each other, everybody, on the website, aehelp.com. I'm going to be back in a little bit less than half an hour, in 25 minutes, with speaking part 3. For those of you watching the lesson, join the premium IELTS package at aehelp.com by clicking that big red button right there above my head. It's a one-time payment. You get lifetime access. Angel, Elizabeth, Fuang, Joe. I'm so happy to see some of our new members joining in regularly. That's great. Everybody, the next class, again, it's about 25 minutes out. So we'll be back at speaking part 3. If you have the chance, definitely come back because speaking part 3 is connected to part 2, and we'll spend a lot of time practicing with students like you just saw, and we'll be covering lots of great vocabulary and strategies. Definitely check out aehelp.com for academic IELTS and gieltshelp.com for general IELTS. Test out the chat system. You can join the website for free as well. I'm back in 24 minutes. Bye for now, everyone. See you soon.